amazing day. I'm Teacher Lorfe, your music teacher for today. Welcome to our music class. Before we begin, let me show you first our objective for today. Today, we will learn about the selected musical theaters of Asia. Are you familiar with these pictures?
These are the different theaters from Asian countries. Can you tell which country in Asia can we find the theater in each picture?
Right! These are the theaters from Japan, China, and Indonesia. Join me as we travel, learn, and discover the different musical theaters from selected Asian countries.
I know that all of you are excited about today's lesson, so let's begin our tour in Asia.
Our first destination is Japan. Konnichiwa! We are here in one of the oldest and famous theaters in their country.
One of the traditions that are popular today is the traditional form of theater, which began at the end of 16th century. No and kabuki are considered as the most important Japanese contribution to the world of theater. One of the key features of Japanese musical theater is the vocal technique used in singing. There are 3 vocal techniques used in Japanese musical theater. Let's discuss each techniques. One of the vocal techniques is the iponchoshi, or the continuous pattern. It is used in speeches building up to an explosive climax in the aragoto, oversized, supernatural, rough hero-style voice. It requires an extraordinary breath control that only a few experts succeed in achieving it. Another is the nori, which technique was adapted from chanting or jujuri. It implies a very sensitive capacity of riding the rhythms of the shamisen, a string instrument, declaiming each accompaniment. There is also the yakuharai. This technique describes a subtle delivery of poetical text written in Japanese metrical form of alternating 7 and 5 syllables. Let's now proceed to the instrumental technique used in Japanese musical theater. First is the naogata. It is also known as long song. This is the most popular shamisen music that is flexible and can be performed by one shamisen or by an entire orchestra of 20 musicians, of which 10 are shamisen, while others play flutes and drums. Now, let us watch an example performance of the naogata.
Our next destination is China. Ni hao! Are you excited, class? Let's take a look what kind of theater they have. Here, we have the Liuwan Theater in Beijing, China. This is where the most of Peking opera is being performed. Let's take a look inside.
Peking opera is a stylized Chinese form of opera dating from the late 18th century, in which speech, singing, mime, and acrobatics are performed to an instrumental accompaniment. The highest aim of the performers is to put beauty in every motion. There are two musical styles used in Peking opera. These are the Erwang and his pill. The Erwang has a higher key or sound. On the other hand, the spiel has a lower key or sound. Now, what about the characteristics of Chinese musical theater? Stay focused as we learn about it. Each performance begins with the Ta Lo and Shag Lo. Each character has its prescribed vocal timbre and pitch to maintain the appropriate rhythm. Even spoken passages are governed by strict rhythms and tempos. They also utilize the technique called fan pan, which is commonly used for sorrowful songs and sung only by the bearded characters. The popularity of Peking opera has been attributed to the simplicity of form, with only a few voices and singing patterns. Wind, strings, gongs, cymbals, and drums are the common instruments used in Peking opera performances.
Now, fasten your seatbelts, for we are going to travel to our last destination, Indonesia. Here we go! Hi! The last theater that we're going to visit is the Art Theater building in Jakarta, Indonesia. Let's go inside to see what kind of theater performance they have.
Let us go to the forest. Who are you? What is your name? What's your name? And where do you come from?
One of the Indonesia's theater performances is the wayang kulit, or the shadow puppet. This is a type of shadow puppet play that is being performed and famous around the Indo-Malayan archipelago, tracing its origin to India. It depicts epic stories of gods and is traditionally accompanied by an orchestra. Most of the shadow puppet plays are based on the two epic stories from India, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Another Indonesian theater performance is the gamelan, an orchestra that accompanies every wayang kulit performances. Gamelan makes use mainly of bronze percussion instruments. It is augmented by other percussion instruments, strings, and flute. Let us find out what are the different instruments in gamelan orchestra as we watch their performance. Here are the other instruments in gamelan orchestra. Let's also learn about the characteristics of gamelan music. Bronze instruments give gamelan music a bright, lingering sound ranging from slow, majestic melodies and clangorous vibrancy. Fiddle and flute add delicate counterpoint pattern of percussive melody. It comprises singing, chanting, and stage actions, including dance. The major dramatic function of gamelan music is to accompany stage action. Entrances, exits, and fight scenes are executed in time to gamelan music. Lastly, Indonesia has also the suluk. It is also known as the mood song. The dalang sings the mood song at a regular interval during the performances. The suluk is never accompanied by the full gamelan orchestra. Often, a single instrument accompanies the singer, never more than 3 or 4.
Alright, that ends up our trip for today. It's time to go back in our own country, my dear students. I hope you enjoyed our virtual travel. It's my privilege to be your tour guide for today's lesson. Now, let me see if you learned something from our travel for today. Grab your paper and pen and answer the following question. Let's begin.
This vocal technique is used in Japanese theater in speeches building up to an explosive climax in the Aragoto, an oversized, supernatural, rough hero-style voice. Very good! The answer is iponchoshi, or continuous pattern. This is another vocal technique that describes the subtle delivery of poetical text written in Japanese metrical forms of alternating 7 and 5 syllables. Brilliant! The answer is yakuharai. What are the two musical styles used in Peking opera? You got it right! The answer is Wang and his Spill. This vocal technique is commonly used for sorrowful songs and sung only by the bearded characters in Peking opera. Great! The answer is fan-fan. What do you call an orchestra which accompanies every wayang kulit performance? Good job! The answer is gamelan.
I hope you got all the answers correct. I'm glad that you learned something from today's lesson. Again, I'm Teacher Lorfe, your music teacher for today. Keep safe and healthy, everyone. See you next time!
Isunod sa bagong plataforma. Kapag narito, sama-sama tayo.